Let us solve this question from NCERT, Chapter 3, Class 11. Okay. So, two towns A and B are connected by a regular bus service with a bus leaving in either direction every T minutes. A man cycling with a speed of 20 km per hour in the direction A to B notices that a bus goes past him every 18 minutes in the direction of his motion and every 6 minutes in the direction opposite to the direction of his motion. What is the period T of the bus service and what speed assumed constant do the buses ply on the road? Right? So, first thing we need to understand the question. Okay. So, here what is given? There are two buses A and B. All right. And there is a connecting road. Now, let us assume that this road is a straight road and the road is perfectly smooth, so there is no speed breakers or any traffic on the road, so that the speed of the buses are constant. Okay, and you have a bus A, right, which is going in this direction, and there is a bus B which is coming from the opposite station, and in every t minutes, okay, the buses will leave the bus depot from A and the buses will leave the bus depot from B. So every t amount of minute the buses are going to leave from this depot. Okay, that is what is given. So in either direction every t minutes. So it is given here a regular bus service with a bus leaving in either direction every t minutes, right? And there is a cyclist. So there is a cyclist. Okay, he's having a cycle. So let us imagine, okay, my cycle is very bad. Anyways, so he's having a cycle and he is driving in 20 kilometer per hour speed. All right. So he's driving with 20 kilometer per hour. Now they are asking, when this cyclist is driving, okay, so he sees that bus A crosses him in every 18 minutes, okay, and bus B crosses him in every 6 minutes. That is relative to the cycle. Okay, so relative to the cyclist, bus A is crossing him at 18 minutes and bus B is crossing him at 6 minutes, right? So let us first calculate what is the relative velocity of the two buses with respect to the cyclist. So let me imagine that the cyclist is C and his speed is 20 kilometer per hour. Alright. Now since A and the cyclist both are in the same direction, okay, the relative velocity VAC will be equal to, now listen, the bus A is traveling with a velocity V and bus B is also traveling with the same velocity V. So both the buses are traveling with the same speed only, right? So VAC is going to be V minus 20. Alright, why am I writing minus? Because the bus A and the cyclist are moving in the same direction. So while finding the relative velocity, you need to take the negative, because obviously if the person is traveling with you in the same direction, you will feel that the person is traveling slower. Okay, so what is his velocity relative to you? With respect to the ground, he may be traveling at a very high velocity, but with respect to you, if you are also traveling at the same high velocity, then the relative velocity between you two will be subtracted. And when when the relative velocity of B and C is calculated, you can see very well both are traveling in the opposite directions, so they will be approaching each other with a faster relative velocity, right? So it is going to be V plus 20. Okay, now this particular bus A, okay, and bus B will be covering some x amount of distance with a velocity V in a time t. Am I right? And the same x distance is going to be covered with this relative velocity also. Okay, so you can write this equation as, so x can be also written as Vt, which is equal to VAC, okay, into 18 minutes, because this particular bus is crossing this particular cyclist in 18 minutes, but whether he is traveling in 18 minutes or not, the bus is going to cover the same amount of distance. Okay, and the same thing can be applied here. So the distance is same, okay, and the relative velocity is going to be V plus 20, or I can write VBC multiplied by 6 minutes. Now since this is in minute, let me convert it into hours. Okay, so this will be equal to VAC into 18 by 60, and this will be VBC into 6 by 60. Now you can see clearly that the left hand sides of both the equations are equal. So if the left hand side is equal, we can equate both equations. So what will I get? V minus 20 into 18 by 60 is equal to V plus 20 into 6 by 60. So this will get cancelled, and then you will be having 18 into V minus 360 is equal to 6 into V plus 120, right? So simplifying this, you're going to get 12V is equal to 480. So if 12V is 480, what is V? V is equal to 40 kilometer per hour, because the speed that we chose was in kilometer per hour. Now we also need to calculate what time they are going to cover this. So what is the period T? Okay, so in what time interval are these buses leaving the depot? So you have this equation with you, right? V into T is equal to VAC into 18 by 60. So we can use anyone. We can use this one also, no problem. Both are same. Alright. So if we use that, we will be getting V into T is equal to V minus 20 into 18 by 60, right? So here I'll apply the, substitute the values. Here you'll be getting 40 minus 20 into 18 by 60. Alright. So therefore T is equal to 20 into 18 divided by 40 into 60. Alright. So here I can just cancel this off. So this will go 2 times, this will go 9 times. Now this is 9 by 60 hour. Alright. Or I can say this is equal to 9 minutes. Am I right? So the time implied is going to be 9 minutes, and the velocity with which the two buses are traveling is equal to 40 kilometer per hour. So this will be the solution for question 9.1. So basically this is a question under relative velocity. Alright. Now coming to question number 3.10. So you can see here what is given. A player throws a ball upwards with an initial speed of 29.4 meter per second. Alright. And what is the direction of acceleration during the upward motion of the ball? Alright. So let us solve the first part. So what are they asking? When a ball is thrown upwards, right? So its initial velocity is 29.4 meter per second. Now you have to remember one thing. When the ball is thrown upwards, it is happening on the earth's surface, right? So in this case, at any point of the ball, at any point in the trajectory of the ball, the gravity is going to act towards the center of the earth. Alright. So what is the direction of acceleration during the upward motion of the ball? So it doesn't matter whether the ball is going up or coming down, right? Gravity is also always going to act towards the center of the earth. Okay, gravity is going to act towards the center of earth. So what would you answer for this question? What is the direction of acceleration? So the direction of acceleration is downward, or you can write towards the earth surface. So G direction is going to be towards earth, right? Towards the earth surface. So that will be the answer for the first half of the first part of this question. Now the second question is, what are the velocity and acceleration of the ball at the highest point of its motion? Now, what do you mean by the highest point? Now, whenever we throw the ball, right? So here you are going to give it some initial velocity, that is 29.4 meter per second. Now, as the ball is going up, okay, your acceleration is acting downwards, right? So this velocity is going to reduce. Okay, it is going, because this acceleration is opposite to the motion of the ball. So at every point, its velocity is going to reduce, and there will be a certain point where it is going to reach the maximum height. Okay, beyond which it cannot go further above, and then it will return back to the earth's surface, right? So at this highest point, what happens? Its velocity becomes equal to 0, because clearly we see that it cannot go beyond a particular point. That means it is stopping here and then taking a turn and then coming back to the earth's surface, right? So at this highest point, the velocity of the ball is going to be 0. Now, irrespective of whether the velocity is 0 or not, acceleration due to gravity is always acting downwards towards the earth in whichever direction the ball is moving. So whether it is going upwards or going at the peak position or coming back down, okay, the acceleration due to gravity is always downwards. So if you had thought that G is equal to 0, then you are wrong. Because if G cannot be 0, if G is 0 at this point, then the particle will be stuck here. Isn't it? The particle will stay there forever, because without acceleration, it cannot change its velocity. So if acceleration is 0, then its velocity should not change, and forever the ball is going to be levitating in the air, which is not possible, right? Because we have witnessed that the ball comes down to the earth. So we know very well that it is accelerating towards the earth's surface. Alright. Now, the third part, the C part, choose the x equal to 0 meter and t equal to 0 seconds to be the location and time of the ball at its highest point. Okay, vertically downward direction to be the positive direction of the x-axis, and give us the signs of position, velocity and acceleration of the ball during its upward and downward motion. Alright, so for this, what we have to do is, this is a little tricky and twisted wordings are used here. Okay, so at the highest point, so imagine your ball is going up and then coming down, right? So this point is chosen as the origin. Okay, so this is your x-axis. This downward direction is taken as a positive x-axis. Okay, and this point is 0. Okay, that is what they have taken here. So when the particle is going to go in the upward motion, okay, when the particle is going in the upward motion, you can see clearly that the position is greater than 0, right? So the position of the particle is going to be greater than 0. Alright, and when it is going to go in the downward motion, also you can see that the position is going to be greater than 0, because 0 is the maximum. If you go beyond this, you will be getting a negative value, but our origin is here at the highest point. So even in the downward motion, the position of the particle is going to be greater than 0. Now what about velocity? Okay, so you can see here, as this particle is going in this direction, right, which is opposite to the direction of x, alright, so therefore velocity is going to be negative. Okay, velocity is going to be negative because the motion of the particle is opposite to the axis that we have chosen. Alright, and here also you can say that the particle is coming down, which is along the positive x direction. So here your velocity is going to be greater than 0. And what about the acceleration due to gravity? So acceleration due to gravity, g, is going to be acting in the downward direction, right? And the downward direction is nothing but the positive x direction. So g is greater than 0 in both the cases, because g is acting downwards at every point of this trajectory. Okay, at every point your g is going to act downward direction. So g is greater than 0. In fact, it is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. That will be your answer for C. Look at question number, the part D. To what height does the ball rise, and after how long does the ball return to the player's hand? So they are asking what is the maximum height and the time of flight. What do we mean by time of flight? Time of flight means the time taken to cover the entire journey. Alright, so first of all, what we need to understand, we have to calculate the maximum height, right? So at the maximum height, what are the information that you know? So the initial velocity of the particle is going to be 29.4 meter per second, and the final velocity is going to be 0, right? 0 meter per second. And what about the displacement? That is what we need to calculate. And what about the acceleration due to gravity? So A is equal to G, which is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. Alright, so using these information, we can calculate what is S by using our third equation of motion, which is equal to v square minus u square is equal to 2as. Alright, and here what we are going to do, since the particle is going to move upwards, right, we are going to assume that the upward direction is positive and the downward direction is negative. Alright, so here u is 0, v is 0, minus u square is equal to minus 2g and maximum height. Now why I have taken minus g? Because the acceleration is opposite to the direction of motion. So the particle is going like this, but the acceleration is downwards. Now don't get confused with the C part that we did. Okay, this is purely their own frame of reference they had given. They had asked us to choose x as positive. Okay, but it's not necessary that we have to solve this question based on this axis. We can choose our own axis, in which I am going to choose in this way because this is the most convenient way to solve this question. Alright, so here this negative sign gets cancelled. So u square is 29.4 the whole square is equal to 2 into 9.8 into h. Alright, so you will be getting 29.4 into 29.4 divided by 2 into 9.8 is equal to h. So 9.8 is going to go 3 times, and 2 and 29.4 is going to get cancelled by 1, 4.14, so it's going to be 7. Am I right? So here I'll be having 14.7 into 3, which is equal to 44.1. So h is equal to 44.1 meter. So this is the maximum height. Alright, and the next part what they had asked is the time of flight. Okay, time of flight. What do you mean by time of flight? Time of flight means the time taken for the particle to go up and then come down to the ground again. Alright, so what is the net displacement in the vertical direction? So in the vertical direction, the particle is getting displaced by how much amount? So I can write that S is equal to 0 because the particle has reached the same horizontal level. Alright, so the vertical direction, there is no displacement at all. So what is the time that this takes to happen? Alright, so S is equal to ut plus half at square will be your formula here. Alright, and S is 0, which is equal to, what is u? U is going to be 29.4 into t. We don't know what t is. And then here you have half into acceleration is going to be minus g. Now listen here. Even though the particle goes up and then comes down, okay, while coming downward direction, the particle is having the same direction as of the acceleration. But when you threw the ball, okay, what was the direction with the acceleration? So the acceleration was acting downwards and the initial velocity was upwards. So g will be taken as negative in that case. Alright, so here half into minus g into t square. So now you just equate it, bring this to this side. So you're going to get half gt square is equal to 29.4 into t. So instead of g, I can write half into 9.8 into t square. So it's going to go 3 times. T will get cancelled. So t is going to be 6 seconds. Alright. So this is your answer. So time of flight is 6 seconds. And the time taken to reach the maximum height is 44.1 meter. Alright. And C and ABC you already know. Question number 3.11. They have given us 4 options and we have to just say whether they are true or not for one-dimensional motion. So read each statement below carefully and state the reasons and examples if it is true or false. A particle in one-dimensional motion with 0 speed at an instant and may have non-zero acceleration at that instant. So is this possible for one-dimensional motion? So just now we have discussed one example, right? That is, a particle is thrown upwards. Okay, a ball is thrown upwards and it comes down with, it changes direction and comes down. So at the highest point, the particle is having 0 speed, right? It is having 0 speed, but what is its acceleration? Its acceleration is not 0 because it is clearly equal to 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, acting in the downward direction, right? So it is possible to have a particle which is traveling in one-dimensional motion with 0 speed and may have a non-zero acceleration. So this statement is true, and you can say that a ball, the example for this can be given as a ball thrown upwards. I can say a ball thrown upwards. Alright. And what about second question? With 0 speed and may have non-zero velocity. Now this is not possible because non-zero velocity means definitely there will be some speed, right? Velocity, speed can be non-zero and velocity can be 0, but the other way around is not possible. Okay, so if there is a non-zero velocity, then definitely there has to be a non-zero speed. Okay, so this option is going to be false. It's not possible for any type of motion to have this kind of a situation. Next, see, with constant speed and must have 0 acceleration. So yeah, this is possible. The speed can be constant, and if the direction is also constant, then in that case the particle is going to have 0 acceleration. So yeah, this is true. So for this you can say any example, a car going with a constant speed in the same direction. Okay, so a car going with, let us say, 50 km per hour in one same direction without turning back or something. So it has 0 acceleration in that case. Next, so this is also true, right? And D, with positive value of acceleration must be speeding up. Okay, now there is a italicized italics must, right? So what does this mean? They're stressing on this word must, and we have to understand, we generally think that if the acceleration is positive, then the particle must be speeding up. Am I right? But if there is a situation in which the initial velocity of the particle is negative. Now what do we mean by negative? Negative as in the direction is opposite. Okay, so let us imagine we have chosen this direction as positive. Okay, and the particle was traveling in this direction. And if there is an acceleration acting in the positive direction, then initially this particle is going to get slowed down. But since it is in the negative, okay, what will happen? The particle's velocity is going to decrease, right? But it will be decreasing in the opposite direction. So in any ways, we cannot say that positive value of acceleration always means that the particle is speeding up. So in this case, the particle has initial negative velocity, which causes the particle to slow down in the beginning, and then it will speed up. So when does it speed up? If the velocity of the particle and the acceleration both are along the same direction, then it will speed up. Alright, otherwise it is not necessary that a positive acceleration has to speed up the particle, right?